Oh man. Okay. Oh man. All right. Okay. We are gonna do another album review here. One last album review here before we get out. And Trent, I've always known you to be more of the FKA Twigs. I don't know if fan is the right word, but at least like you've been more aware of her music and more, I think, up on her music than I've been. I would say that because, admittedly, I don't know if I've really listened to any of her albums in totality. Like, if it was maybe LP1. I listened to it a very long time ago and don't remember much about it. Just I kind of her general style. From a single here and there, a music video, a song, a feature, blah blah blah. Following her on social media, you get a feel for like she, as far as I know, came in with more of like an avant pop sound or some sort of art pop style to her music. I don't know if I guess what I'm saying is I don't know if it was as like R&B driven, as rhythmically driven as this album is going to be. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think LP1 definitely more of like a yeah, like you said, like an art pop type deal. It's got a lot of energy, but it's very, the outlets for the energy are like kind of all over the place. It's not super cohesive or like,
it's not like dance energy, right? It's not like that. It's not, that's not what you're saying, but you're like, this energy surges out and it's like, it could be.
It reminds me of like almost like an Arca album. Like it has
okay.
You know, like
right, yeah.
It's not
on that Bjork
energy.
shit. On that Bjork shit.
Yeah, no, actually, and then Magdalene, which I think is kind of more her like magnum opus to this point. Like, I think people look to that more as like an accurate representation of her style. More has moments of like a kind of a pop R&B type sound, but for the most part, it's very like ballad heavy, like really muted instrumental. Sometimes not even much of an instrumental at all, and her voice is just kind of like so different than any other voice. Like
was Cellophane on that album?
Cellophane is like the probably her biggest song to date, but and also just her music, what she's singing about is super intense. Like
yeah.
she's got like kind of a storied history in like in just kind of like many different industries, and has had a lot of like I think a lot of grief from other people. I think a lot of other people have given her grief just because of like who she is and stuff.
Yes. Which, I mean, this album, you're gonna hear some of that reference. We sort of know like recent public events in her like dating life and whatnot, right, that we would be able to sort of shine light on some of the lyrics that we're hearing in these songs, and you like kind of attribute it to that, or in a greater sense, like what that feels like, what that what her life is like now versus what it was at a different time. So you hear some of those textures in the lyrics too, for this album for sure.
Yeah. So and then you get to this album, and I think this is a little bit more of a departure from even Magdalene. I think this is definitely more like listenable. I think this is kind of like I'm totally just assuming because I don't know fucking FKA Twigs. I don't know anything about her, but right. I would assume that this is more of just like I've overcome those moments, and now I think this album exudes a lot more like
newfound confidence.
I think, yeah, that's like really what this album is more about. And it's very refreshing because FKA Twigs is an artist that I've always wanted to listen to a lot of, but her music's not really super conducive to like just putting on casually.
Yeah.
You have to be in a certain place for that.
Yeah.
Except for the fucking
the
645 AR
645
song.
AR.
Now that shit you can bump anywhere, anytime. And if anyone gives you any grief about it, fuck them.
For any kind
That's one of the best
hose,
songs ever.
and you will not scare them away.
Something About You. But yeah, no, this album is definitely like a new iteration, like a new, and I think she's kind of like taken leaps and bounds. Every album has kind of been a different place sonically, and probably because emotionally she's in a different place everywhere. So
I like a lot of the shit on here. I think the whole first part of the album is fucking great. And then there's a period where I'm like, okay, this is starting to slow down. Maybe this is going to come back to earth a little bit. And then the fucking song Jealousy with Rema. I don't know who that. Someone just told me to check them out too, which I was thinking I should based off this song. And I will now. But, bruh, this shit goes crazy. So yeah, for this being like really my first FKA Twigs album experience overall, I am impressed. And then when you add like her singing and performance aspects to what are some really great, bass rhythms and nicely written songs, like it just puts it over the top from just being a little bit more than just like a solid pop album or
Actually, I'm not crazy about the song Honda. Not my favorite song on this.
I like that song.
But I love Ride the Dragon, Meta Angel, Tears in the Club, Oh My Love, and then Pamplemousse is cool. And then it gets to the interlude where it's like, I'm not crazy about Light Beamers. Poppy Bones is easily my least favorite song. And then comes back though with Jealousy. That song is probably the best song.
Dude, that song
comes back with Jealousy. Careless is an awesome song.
Yeah, we're listening to that now.
Darjeeling with Georgia Smith, awesome song. And then the Ender, the thank you song as a closer is great. But even that lull, I'm not like, it's not bad. And I honestly think that those are the songs that are going to grow on me. Like, I think the songs that I love, they'll stay about where they're at. Like, I'll love them. They're not going to be my songs of the year or anything like that, but I love them. They're really good on this album. I think the songs where the lull is where I think they could grow on me. Like, I think I could get into them more.
Yeah.
I think Light Beamers is like good, but not one of my favorites. I think it could be one of my favorites. I think Pamplemousse is an exciting song. I love the name. I love the the lyrics are great. But I think it could be my top 4 song of the South. So I think like this has the potential to be an album that I really love throughout the year, and I'm glad it came out early because it's gonna give me even more time to like figure out, is this gonna be like a top 15 album? I don't know. Like I love it. There
are already some strong candidates for like top album.
I love it so far. I think I like it more than the Earl, honestly. Like I love the Earl.
I do too. No, there's like more upside to this album.
Yeah.
And like this album has really made me want to sing and dance.
I know,
and just vibe. I mean, like I'm enjoying this album with my body. Like one aspect about this album, I'm waiting to see if it like really pans out for me. There's like, we're talking about a bunch of astrology shit in the interludes, and this, obviously it's CAPRISONGS. This is a mixtape, by the way. I know we keep saying an album, but she says this is a mixtape.
Longest fucking mixtape.
This is a really, really good fucking mixtape. But
this is like when Win put out the mixtape, and that was just a full ass album.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Put that stamp on it personally, but I love the way that he walks into this track, and I think he fits the record well. But also, like, he's like talking about moving your body to the rise of the sun and shit. Like, he's on that astrological shit too. He knows what fucking time it is. He knows. Come on, he knows. But I'm waiting to see if the album overall. I feel like I'm hearing some lyrics that kind of reference the astrological theme of the project, but I'm kind of waiting to see if I pick out more stuff that I notice is like, okay, the lyrics are really shaping themselves around this idea, they're actually using kind of the astrology and the writing and not just like referencing it here and there, and obviously in the interludes and shit like that. So I could see that being a cool aspect for me too once I get to like soak up the lyrics more. But Yeah, overall right now I'm just enjoying a fairly consistent and ambitious album overall in terms of its amount of tracks. It's not incredibly long, but you know, it's probably longer than the average mixtape these days. So yeah, man. Yeah, definitely that's a favorite track for me. Ride the Dragon, I agree, is really good. I like
Ride
Honda.
the Dragon is I think it's rare that you get an album that has like a really, really good opener and a really, really good closer, and they both are like kind of pick up and leave you like at a really good spot. I think the Thank You song is, you know, it's definitely like one of the more low key, one of the more like harkens back to Magdalene out of all these tracks.
Sure.
But I like that. I like that she's like calling back to like some of the other styles she's done.
Yeah, I think that's
and doing
important.
it from a place like I also think it's last point, but I also think it's interesting that like I was saying, I think Magdalene was really the sound was based off of like the experience and like the emotions that were, you know, included. I think it's interesting. Like Thank You song is referencing that sound, but from a different place. Like I think, and I think there's like, this is probably like super soapboxy or like whatever, kind of like corny, but like I do think that like Magdalene dealt with what seemed like a lot of negative emotion, and this deals with a lot of like overcoming that negative emotion.
Yeah.
But I think part of overcoming that kind of stuff is like, you know, like going through whatever happened with Magdalene.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that she can reference it, but with different lyrics and different kind of like perspective is like a really cool way to like tie it all in.